So, Mr. Crump, you're saying that when you submit your music, your lyrics to the executives, they censor it?
No, they don't censor it. What they do is they go through the music and with a fine-tooth comb and make sure. And I've seen in situations where they'll bleep your music out without you knowing it.
Okay.
So I guess in a way they do sometimes. But I know that it definitely goes through a board, and especially when it comes to
and
the
they
video
come back
channel.
to you and say, Mr. Crump, or...
No, sometimes it don't make it back to us. It
Okay.
goes straight out to the public.
Okay.
I've heard music of mine that's been altered without me saying that it was cool, but that's how the game goes.
Mr. Miller, how about you?
Oh, I mean, listening to Mr. Banner, I go back to this point, and I'm gonna give you guys this real invaluable.
Remember, the question is: have industry executives
Yes.
ask you to alter your music or lyrics? If so,
Well,
under what circumstance?
I think
Mr. Banner, Mr. Crump answered that. I was just hoping you could tell us.
I will explain that to you guys, but I think I want to go back to this subject and explain it to you. I keep talking about education and knowledge. I think right now you have to understand that education and knowledge is two different things, and I think Mr. Banner is right on it. We're talking about the same thing, but what I don't understand is me and him talking about the same thing, and he's being here as a Republican witness for this subject. And I think that we need to really understand knowledge, what's so important about it. And I'm going to give you knowledge from the record business. I've been on both sides. On this side of the table is that they have A&R departments, and they can screen your music and say, I don't want to put this out, you guys can't say this, because they have done this all the time. And I think after this here, we really need to get together and understand, because we all talking about the same thing. Mm-hmm. And we all are being scrutinized for something that we have no participating in. Because at the end of the day, this is about finance. This is about money. This is an uncontrolled situation. So they really can screen your music, and they do. But
can you actually say in your case that you wrote some lyrics, and did you have to go through what Mr. Crump said? Did they actually change the lyrics of yours?
I'm kind of different because I had a distribution deal, and that's why I said I'm sorry for the stuff that I did, and I understand it because I had nobody to pat me on the back. But it has got to a point where somebody could come and say, if you look at
talking about your lyrics now.
Yeah, talking about my lyrics.
He or she came to you and said, da 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 da, and you.
At a time in my life, people say, I listened to this song. You need to change this.
You need to change that.
And I had to change it.
You had to change it for
because think about what I said. Most kids right now, they're just in it for the money. I was in it for the money at the time. I could honestly say that.
I understand. Mr. Chairman, I noticed.
And I want to say no record company has changed my lyrics as of yet.
Not yet.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if I have just a little bit more time considering the situation.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Crump, I think just the creative process of you coming up with your songs, are you responsible for the initial content of your music, or do you have you sit down with friends, or do you try it out with a girlfriend or something?
I have, the full responsibility of everything that I say, regardless of that's one thing that I always say. It's not Universal's responsibility. It's not my friend's responsibility. It's solely my responsibility. And there may be things that affect me, but I'm a man. I take full responsibility for everything that I say.
And so you wrote all the lyrics yourself, and then if they get changed, it's because the executives of the music.
Well, no, but the fact is that doesn't happen much. And a lot of times, if it's something that's actually changed, it's something that has to do. Like, let's say if something happened at 9/11. Or something is going on with the president, something of that magnitude. It's really nothing. They're not nitpicking on every different subject. It's not a censorship at all.
Okay, Mr. Miller, just the question is, in your creative process, you're sitting here. You were a young man. You came up with these lyrics. These are all your own content that you created yourself, or did you have?
Well, it's creative for me. It's creative from painting a picture, looking out my window. Some of the things I done went through, some of the things people that I know done went through.
So your life experiences and just sitting there.
Well, I think mine's, to be honest with you, I lost my brother at a young age. Yeah. So mine was more of a cry of anger.
Okay.
Say, man, what could I do in this community? I mean, why is this happening to her? Why is my mother going to a funeral? Why am I going to a funeral? Why am I in this situation, and what could I do to get out? So I think at the end of the day, it was
a catharsis for you. You were getting this out.
But think about it. I think at the end of the day, what we're not doing is we're not listening to the end of the music. Just like he said, some of my music might start off to get these people, but at the end of the day, I want to try to leave with some type of message so they say, I want to make them think. And I think it's a part of growing up and maturing.
Dr. Dyson, I've got a question that perhaps goes to one of your books. You've written that the rapper Tupac Shakur wanted to combat the anti-intellectualism of hip-hop, end quote. And I thought I'd give you an opportunity to further elaborate on that idea of his perspective, Shakur's perspective, if you could.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that. I think that Tupac was in concert with Richard Hofstadter, who wrote a book in 63 or before, about the anti-intellectualism of America. He talked about the choice of Eisenhower over Adlai Stevenson as a critical turn in the attribution of anti-intellectual sentiments among the broad American populace. I'm not trying to make Tupac Shakur Richard Hofstadter. I am suggesting, however, that anti-intellectualism is a species that is not particular or peculiar to hip-hop. It's an American disease, one with somebody being tendentious and negative could say visit the White House for ample evidence. What I would suggest is that anti-intellectualism is deep and problematic across the board, and hip-hop has elements of it. This is why Tupac read deeply, thought critically, read many books. I went to his the home where he shared with a woman, and I read the books for myself. I saw them for myself, and I think that he did combat the anti-intellectualism of this culture, not only in hip-hop but more broadly. But it is necessary to say that it is an anti-intellectual strain that manifests itself there as it manifests itself across the board. And I think the power of what these two artists have done here today is to display that you can be highly articulate and intelligent, use words in productive and provocative ways, and use those words to inform and inspire. You think about a rapper like Mos Def, who said, you can laugh and criticize Michael Jackson if you want to. Woody Allen molested a married stepdaughter. Same press kicking dirt on Michael's name show Woody and Son at the playoff game. Now sit back and think about that. Would he get the same dap if his name was Woody Black? So when you think about the use of words to combat anti-intellectualism, Tupac was one of the greatest. He said, somebody help me, tell me where to go from here, because even thugs cry, but do the Lord care? But he also said, just the other day I got lynched by some crooked cops, and to this day them same cops on the beat getting major pay, but when I get my check they taking tax out, so we paying the cops to knock the blacks out. That's a powerful antidote to the anti-intellectualism that prevails, and I think we need more, not less than a guy like that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Shakur.
I want to describe to you for a second how I'm feeling about this riveting debate. I'm feeling like, how can I ask something that doesn't make me look like just categorized as a privileged white woman who doesn't really get it and who can't recite any of the rap music. And I think that the way I feel in part describes the problem that we have in all sitting down together and talking about both the larger problem or issue and the specific issue of rap music, is that in some ways we come from very different perspectives, and it's hard really to get into each other's head. Writers are always told, write about your own experience, and then when young rappers do that, well, the experience is painful and it's mean and graphic and sometimes ugly, and we don't really mean it. I started this morning thinking about it from the standpoint of a woman and a mother and a grandmother of 3 little girls, and thinking about the music that they listen to or that I hope they listen to, which is important in their lives, and then the feelings they have about themselves after they hear it. So I was thinking not so much about racism as sexism and how it and so I guess I want to ask the artist first, when you well, I guess especially Mr. Crump, when you sing these words, which I assume, and I don't know them, do use the H word and the B word, do you think about the women who may be listening to this, and what do you think about that?
I'm going to be very honest with you. Last year I went through the worst depression that I can't describe it. And during that depression, I was bad. I had the money, I had the cars, but in this depression, I was wondering if I was doing my people more harm. And I went to a preacher that had 30 people